Hi, everybody. It is September 19, 2024. Can we heal? Can we heal our broken societies? Not just the United States, but all over the world. Especially top ranked are the Western societies. Some worse than others, but what makes a society? The people in it. Can we heal our own selves? How are you guys doing? It's quite the world we're living in. It's very tiresome. It's very, it's kind of, well, I'm not an anxious person, so I was going to say anxiety provoking, but I think it is that for an awful lot of people. Um, Boy, it's evil. It is evil. And you all know that I am not a religious type. I was listening to an interview with it was Candace Owens and Neil Oliver, and they were talking about evil. And Neil Oliver, you know, is now hearing that come out of people's mouths, that word, an awful lot more. And he really struggled with it because, he's also not, uh, of the religious persuasion. It's exactly that, and you don't have to be religious to recognize that, yes, we've got evil, and we've got evil spreading all over. It is destroying people on a daily basis, and a whole lot of people need help. Whole lot of people need help. There's still those out there that don't believe in evil. Well, look around you. Pay attention. Come on out of your delusion and join us in reality. Hello, analog synth player, Alicia, Geofactor 3. I'm hanging into. It's getting harder though, Geofactor. So I hope you're doing okay. It's hard. Del Griffith, hi, Andrew, Rage Against the Machine, Sandra, James B, L78, thank you. T Lamb, thank you. Jane Northrop, hello. Justin Wynn, I am so sorry. Dealing with roaches, fleas, and bed bugs in the new place that you are living. Fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. Well, I wish I knew what to say. I don't know what to say anymore. Life as we have known it has changed greatly. Brave New Us, hello. Tonette and Patricia White and Kim Blanchard and Barb in Ohio, hello. Vincent Veritas, hi. BMCC, hi. Wire Palladium, Julie, Bella, Space Indian, hi guys. Silent Walk, Louisiana Skywatch. Oh, Louisiana, they're saying another hurricane is coming next week. Some are saying Louisiana. I don't see that on one forecast model, but who knows? Taylor News, hello. Michael Wilson. I suddenly have scratchy throat. Oh, and that reminds me, I did want to move one thing along. So let me do that so I don't forget. But where is it? Oh, don't tell me. Oh. Well, okay. I don't seem to have it on here. Let's take a look at radar and look at all of this. Look at all of the activation of supercells. Wow. And they activate in Oklahoma, Kansas, right along that line. Oh, and yeah, I got to do this. I'm sorry. But I'll show you. Don't worry. Let's do it again. Look at this. Look at what's happening in Eastern Washington. Next radar, ripping up the atmosphere. Look at this. All of them activate pretty much at the exact same time. In a line. And all of these as well. Heading right on up into Canada. Well, that looks like severe weather. 4 more. That's quite the pulse. Look, boom. Yeah, okay. I wish we had more people talking about the weather. But I appreciate those who do. Look at these frequencies hitting the storm in Florida. This frequency that comes out extends into the Gulf. Not good, guys. Not good. Fires are still continuing in Southern California and Portugal, boy. Look at all of these extremely low frequencies. Land shifting, landslides that you got in Southern California that are actually more and more people are losing their homes due to land shifting. Okay. This is a very defined line of supercells. So, do we have any tornado warnings? Do we ever? Wow. Do we ever? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got a tornado warning, severe thunderstorm, capable of producing tornadoes in St. Louis, Minnesota, Pine and Douglas. Well, Pine, Minnesota, and Douglas, Wisconsin. We've got Carlton, St. Louis, and Douglas. Well, Douglas, Wisconsin, and Carlton, Minnesota. Great. Not great. You know that. Be very careful, guys. Severe weather for, we've got Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Wisconsin. That nice, lovely line. And, well, I'm going to post a link and you can check out the counties. Again, the weather terrorists are out in force. Be very careful. Link to the severe weather alert And tornado alert site is in the chat. Radar link is in the chat. Yeah, that's me, Elle. How dare you be late? Tony, it's quite okay. It's quite okay. And I'm just grateful that you're here. All right, weather. Now, into thin air. Link is in the chat. Oh, here we go.
All right, welcome back, everyone. As we discussed a few days ago, we have a pretty significant storm about to brew in the southern Caribbean. And as of right now, all models are putting this thing in the Gulf of Mexico as a large hurricane. Unless something out in the Atlantic forms before this storm becomes a tropical storm, this will be Hurricane Helene. And that is not the only storm we see on this chart. All right, so let's go over our post from yesterday where the models had this storm entering the Gulf, as you can see, and becoming a major hurricane before a landfall in Louisiana on September 28th. Now, with all these posts, I made it very clear that we have plenty of time for this landfall to change, the size of the hurricane, and all sorts of things. But the main point here that I'm trying to make is that we are going to see something significant in the southern Caribbean, and then it will make its way into the Gulf. Now, land interaction between places like Cancun or even Cuba will affect this storm's ability to form. As you're seeing in the updated chart today, it does interact with Mexico right there, which means it will affect the storm and change it from yesterday's model. That's why we're seeing a possible landfall near the Panhandle or Alabama here. So we have a lot of stuff to discuss before we can make any conclusions here. I'm just showing you what the models are saying as of right now, as I always do. And then as time goes on, I make my predictions and things like that. We've been pretty good this year. We've been dead on with every single hurricane we've seen. So we're going to continue to follow these storms and monitor anything that happens. All right, so let's...
Okay, so the link is in the chat. Very sorry you guys have to contend with all of this. It's I did look at the forecast model. I want to refresh just in case there's maybe a possibility of some change, but I'm going to start. This is at midnight tonight, September 20, midnight tonight. A little bit of precipitation along the coast of Louisiana. 6 a.m., September 20. 12 noon, September 20. Midnight, September 21. So let's speed this up. You're pretty clear for a couple of days there. But what comes up? I'm on September 24th. Here we go. Getting ready, September 25. Ready, more ready. September 25 at noon. All right, September 26 at midnight. I don't even see a hurricane on this forecast model. This is September 26 at noon. A lot of thunderstorms outside of Florida on the west coast. And then you get pounded. September 27. Florida. Florida is hit on this forecast model, which is very different from what we just saw, the model that Into Thin Air showed us. We're now 28th, midnight. Okay. So, you see what I see? That's not what other models are showing. Just be prepared. Even if you're inland, just be prepared for anything happening anywhere, because that is what we are living. And I'm going to post the link to this forecast site. Especially for those along the coast, you really should kind of be checking out the forecasts. So, woman says she'll have to pay for storm damage after being talked out of buying flood insurance. You can't rely on anyone.
Operations continue across the area tonight from Monday's torrential rains brought in by potential tropical cyclone 8.
But some neighborhoods and families are struggling more than others. That includes many people living in Boiling Spring Lakes. WECT's Delaney Tarpley talked to one woman whose home flooded, even though she doesn't live in a flood zone. Delaney, that's a big problem without flood insurance.
It is, Fran. Barbara Ummensetter says she was told she wouldn't need it since she's not in a flood zone. Now she's worried she'll have to pay for her repairs out of pocket. Barbara says the water got to be a foot deep inside her home after Monday's rain. Now she says her doors are warped and they won't even close. She's worried about mold and having to replace her insulation. These are some photos of her furniture she's piled up outside her house after the storm. She says all of it is ruined. She told us about the exact moment she realized the water was starting to get inside her home.
We literally looked like we were in an aquarium because our sliding glass door on the back of our house, the water was rising up above that, and that's where it started seeping in, and then it came through all the walls.
Ummensetter tells us what she really wants is answers as to why her area is not designated as a flood zone. She says she's written and called lawmakers about the issue, but has not heard back. Fran.
All right, Delaney, thanks.
Isn't it unfortunate that we can't rely on anyone? Residents return to damaged homes after the Texas pipeline fire.
I mean, every now and then something happens, but never nothing like this close to the house. We were hoping we were far enough away from the refineries that none of this would happen like this, but I guess anything can happen.
I feel like maybe they should have had that, more secured, especially on a busy road next to a neighborhood. And then there's a park right there, kids could have been there when this happened. So I feel like it could have been protected more. It is a fear that you keep in the back of your mind, but I don't think I want to live here anymore. I'm just too scared to stay here. I had never experienced anything like that in my life ever, and I don't want to have to experience it again.
Every day, someone is suffering the consequences of fires and floods and whatever else. Crime, the economy, stones hitting Japan. Wow, these severe weather events just seem to be pounding countries. And don't we need to question that?
Due to the influence of the front, atmospheric conditions in the contact ocean region became critical. Which led to the manifestation of unexpected storms and hail. The city that suffered the most from large hail was Hachioji, located in the Tokyo metropolitan area. Residents even reported thunder and lightning.
And that's a piece of car. I will post the link if you want to check out more destruction caused by that storm. But when you hear, look, I was up in Maine and we had tiny hail, and I have pings on my car from that. That kind of hail, that's going through windows, that's going through roofs. Italy. Didn't I say last night? I'm sure Hurricane Boris, that doesn't seem to want to stop, flooding out so many European countries. And I said, tomorrow morning, I'm sure to wake up to Italy now flooded, and here it is.
Adesso siamo sul tetto, aspettiamo l'elicottero che ci venga a prendere.
Devastating floods hit Emilia-Romagna, Italy, September 19th, 2024.
Abbastanza. Questo è un grosso problema.
By Storm Boris led to rivers overflowing their banks and widespread damage across the region.
Mi ha detto che non è in parcheggio questo.
Roads and bridges rendered impassable. The damage to infrastructure, homes, and businesses is expected to be extensive.
Dai, husband. Dai, zio, qui gliela fai passare.
Help with the recovery efforts.
It's really the weather terrorists are out in force, hitting so many areas that, and these hits, these areas, if they recover at all, it will take years with all of the damage. A 5 on the Richter scale earthquake in Indonesia.
A magnitude 5 earthquake struck Bandung Regency, West Java. The tremor struck in the morning, 9:41 local time, and the epicenter was 25 kilometers from Bandung. in several areas.
Jam 9.04.
The depth of the earthquake was 10 kilometers, which led to such terrible consequences.
Did you hear that? The depth of the earthquake was 10 kilometers. 10. Do any of you know why I am emphasizing the number 10? That's like one of the hallmarks for a electromagnetic frequency earthquake. Extremely low frequencies. It was the signature that an awful lot we're talking about years and years ago with HARP. 10 kilometers. Shallow, but it can bring about quite a lot of destruction. Another earthquake in China. I mean, earthquakes are happening at quite the frequency, no pun intended.
Residents in these areas provided feedback, noting that the shaking was particularly strong in densely populated urban centers. According to immediate reports, the earthquake caused light structural damage, and several homes in Fidong showed signs of cracks following the tremor.
Okay. So, a subscriber sent this along. This is Survival Lily. And here she is talking about the magnetic poles and everything shifting and weakening. And that can bring about more earthquakes, more lightning that we're seeing in the sky. But I sure wish that people would also factor in all of these incredibly dangerous sites, HARP-like sites around the world, NexRad radar, extremely low frequencies, the extremely low frequency transmitter sites that militaries have parked all over the world, but they don't. So, but let's listen to a few minutes. I will post her link in the chat.
Hey guys, my name is Lily and today I want to make a video about what the elites don't want you to know. So what am I talking about? Guys, the thing is, our magnetic field is weakening. And, you know, I've seen a couple of videos about it on YouTube and I always thought, yeah, it's weakening, so what? What's the problem? The problem is that this can be potentially life-threatening for us humans. So I'm not sure if you can see this, but this is actually a map of where the magnetic pole is. And back in the day, it was only moving like 5 miles a year. But then there was an acceleration in the movement of the magnetic North Pole. Here we can see that from about 1998, the North Pole started to raise. So now let's take a look at the Southern Pole. At the South Pole, we have this picture here. the South Pole is also moving and accelerating. And it seems to be as if the North and South Pole is flipping again. And this is nothing new. So this is happening on a regular basis on Earth every, I don't know, 200,000 years, 300,000 years. The poles are flipping. So the thing is that the magnetic poles, they are moving because the magnetic field is getting weaker. So how much less?
And that's what HARP and HARP-like, structures all over, facilities all over, can do. I mean, I was reading all of these fabulous articles on the weather warfare, and there were physicists and scientists talking about HARP. I don't think that you can find them now, but they were talking about how incredibly dangerous is HARP and how they can flip the magnetic field and literally, screw up all of the natural processes. And that's exactly what's been going on. So, while it's very good to bring people's attention to all of these dangers, I would like to also bring attention to the possible cause and possible people doing this so that they're held to account. Call me crazy. Okay. This too was sent to me by a subscriber who I want to thank all subscribers for sending me information. Another one of my pet peeves that came about when you heard so many people coming out talking about the dangers of 5G as if there were no dangers to 4G and 3 and 2 and 1. Every generation of this technology has presented us with a far more dangerous environment. But a whole lot of people just want to think it's 5G. I don't understand that because so many of us, myself included, were suffering from 4G. And that seems to, I don't know, 5G has just overridden, and as there are still people with 4G phones, but it's very real. How do we get adults to even consider listening to this information?
So many towers and hidden transmitters, even streetlights can have transmitters in them, road signs, and there is a system, and it's been out about 10, 12 years now, called Celdar. Once the system has locked onto you, let's say from this lamppost, if there's a transmitter there, once it's locked onto you, the computer will take away anything that isn't moving, like buildings, and it will have your size, and then as you walk up the road, and you get lost from this transmitter, the next one will pick you up, and then the next one, and they can follow you everywhere. And if they want to, they can also send a beam into you.
People can't imagine just how sophisticated this technology is. And they've been working on it for decades. This has been their dream for decades, putting out a social credit score system based on energy weapons to eliminate the undesirables. Anybody that's watched the Barry Trohr series on energy weapons knows that they've been doing this since at least the 1960s. And he's pretty infamous for irradiating for the UK government, which at the time was Protestant, but now it's just communist. If you don't think these people would take you out with energy weapons, pay attention to the news as they're opening the borders to replace you, as they're driving up the prices to starve you, as they're injecting people with the death. If you don't think they would use a weapon like this on innocent people, think again. And if you don't think that you're the prime target as a conservative, think again.
So many towers and hidden transmitters, even streetlights.
The video guy. This video here gives you an idea of just how surgically precise AI targeting can be. When we say this stuff follows you everywhere with surgical precision to mimic the stages of a disease, to give you the impression that it's natural causes. That's exactly what this system can do. It continues to hit an area in your body to soften you up and to make you think like there's something wrong with you, but it's artificial in nature, and it's artificial intelligence that's driving the system. And all of these cell towers have been weaponized on top of the smart grid, smart meters, cell phones, new cars, planes, and beyond. Everyone is at risk of being exterminated by this system. There's
Link is in the chat. And that system is operating. So, all right, I'm going to, let me go to, oh, I'm not entirely sure where it is. Let's see if I can get it quickly. But there was a comment from a subscriber that I did want to read into a live stream because, hi everybody, it is September. She's really now suffering and believes it's from, I've got to get to the comments. Oh, very, very upset with myself. Where the hell did it go? Very strange that it just disappeared because I had that open and ready. All right, well, all right, let's just check this out. An entire neighborhood, electrical boxes start on fire. Auditing Erie County. So is this upstate New York? Could it be Pennsylvania? He drives around all these fire engines, stops to talk to people who are out on the road, those who are affected.
So all these houses, the electrical boxes are either fried or started on fire. A lot of them set off their smoke detectors, and we got firemen everywhere down here checking things out. They're in all sorts of houses. So on Quail Run here in Lancaster, we got all these houses that were setting off smoke detectors and fire alarms. rural neighborhood here in Lancaster, New York. Clue of what to do, or how long is it taking, or what the... What did they say anything? Give you any clue of what to do, or how long is it taking, or what they're thinking?
My breaker box. The 2 breakers that were off, you turn it back on. Checked it with the scope. It said 2 of my sockets were warm, but no internal.
So is your electric back on then right now, all of it? Or?
My electric's on. My air conditioning is shot. My stove is shot.
The electric stove?
Yeah.
Holy cow, that's an expense.
And the TVs and the receiver.
Dang.
Yeah.
Were your TVs on surge protectors?
They were, yeah.
And it didn't help them, huh? Dang. Well, thanks for the information.
No problem.
I'll post this link here, but he also talks to other people in this neighborhood, and they all had something going on, like their air conditioners were shot, the TVs blown, stoves. One person said dishwasher completely shot. There was a surge, obviously, into this neighborhood. Could it have been those smart meters? Perhaps. But wow. So, whether or not they have electricity now, who knows? But, they can blow up anything, right? Lebanon? The blowing up of pagers and handheld radios, walkie-talkies, cell phones. What else was it? But now a whole lot of Lebanese are very anxious, and they've been unplugging a whole lot of devices like baby monitors. One guy said, what's next? Maybe tomorrow lighters will explode. They've weaponized pretty much everything. And we've consented by using their weapons. So, yeah. Oh, man. Delta halts flights between New York and Tel Aviv. I didn't know that airlines were not flying to Tel Aviv or out of Tel Aviv to New York. Or maybe they're flying that way, but yeah, our flights to Tel Aviv remain suspended. And this is United Airlines. We look forward to resuming flights as soon as it is safe for our customers and crew. 3 major U.S. companies. It's Delta, United, American. They've not been flying to Tel Aviv for about a year. And, well, of course, they claim that the American carriers are playing into Iran's game. This helps Iran. Well, that was from Barry Weiss, who's a rabid Zionist, so you can't expect much from her. UK Foreign Secretary calls on British nationals to vacate Lebanon amid escalating Israeli airstrikes. And yes, the airstrikes are going on. The Hezbollah is fighting, killing, well, from what I hear on one broadcast, it was 2 Israelis today. Killing. Let's do it. Let's show humanity. Always walking the low road to death, You'd like to think the human race was a little bit beyond all of this, but it never gets beyond it. It's actually only gotten worse. And yeah, all right, we're just going to play this because we have to stop accepting those on the low road. We have to stop just accepting lies from government officials, from mainstream media reporters, from your friends, from your family, we have to. We need moral standards. And for sure, that standard should be honesty and truth. All right, so what does mainstream media do when they're protecting a particular politician and they lie? They don't clear it up for weeks. They let the lie stand. And then eventually they clear it up. They've been doing that forever. Because once the lie is told and people buy it, and then they correct it in time, a whole lot of people don't get the correction, and a whole lot of people just don't correct it because they don't think anymore. I mean, we certainly have been doing that with the numbers, unemployment and all the jobs that are being created. They come out, they bullshit, and then, well, they come out with a revision on the numbers like a week later. Tell me, don't you feel like you deserve more than the shit that you are spoon-fed every single day? I guess Americans really don't, because they do seem to, hey, this is fine.
ABC actually fact-checked Kamala Harris, but it was a couple weeks after that. This is to make up for that you rigged the debate.
And tried to kill Trump.
And yeah.
And also tried
So
to
after
kill
they
him.
tried to kill Trump, they finally they say, hey, you know what? Let's fact check this. Let's go ahead. Okay, here we go.
You about her comments about the military. She said during the debate this about the U.S. military. Let's listen.
As of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century.
Who could possibly believe that? Americans? Who? Really? How could she possibly have even said that? Now, everything's orchestrated, everything's deliberate, right? That should have knocked her out as the candidate for the for the president. How do you say that? When we know that we have troops in Syria and Ukraine and Israel and Iraq and an awful lot of places. Okay. It should drive you nuts. But Americans, yeah, all right. The lying, the ripple effect of all of this has an effect on all of us.
Our fact checkers found that to be false, and I have a lot of experience in that area as well. There are currently 900 U.S. military personnel in Syria, 2,500 U.S. troops in Iraq. All have been under regular threat from drones.
You know what? Why are they under regular threat? They shouldn't be there. They're occupying the regions in those countries. They shouldn't be there. But we're not going to mention that. Oh my God, we're stealing Syria's oil. And they're under threat because Syrians want them out. Okay. We're a crazy nation. Truly. I mean, it's stunning how unbelievably crazy is this country. Okay. All right. It's like a shocking disgrace of a country.
And missiles for months. We also have action in the Red Sea. We also, every single day, the Navy SEALs, Delta Forces, special operators can be part of any sort of deadly raid. So
we shouldn't be there. We're the threat. So if anybody stands up and fights back against the American threat to them, then we recognize them as a threat. It's like we're violent robbers of countries, right? So if a violent robber came into your home and you fought back, you would be the threat to the violent robber. I guess they're supposed to just sit back and let the American military just steal everything from them. Oh my God, this country. Whew.
why would she make that claim?
Well, I think what's important here, Martha, is that Kamala Harris, in contrast to Donald Trump, demonstrated
Well, that's how she doesn't answer the question at all.
herself to be.
I mean, this is worth playing just for the laughs. This is how much a person cannot answer a question.
Commander-in-chief. We are in a world where there are all sorts of conflicts, and it's all the more reason we need somebody who's serious and who supports the military.
Those conflicts? Hi. USA, USA. These people are sick, twisted, crazy people. This is the governor of Massachusetts. She won't answer the question. And yeah, we need someone who is really going to even invade more countries and kill more innocent people. And that's Kamala. But it's also Trump. So it's hello, Americans. Are we broken? Yeah, we're very broken. We're broken people. This kind of stuff, whether it's what's her name, Healy or Harley Healy, it comes out of both sides, both teams, whoever the politician is, they lie through their teeth, and we just, yeah, it's fine. This has been going on my entire life, only getting worse and worse, and more in our face. I mean, it feels like every day, it's like you're getting slapped in the face by people like this. I don't care how made up she is. She's trash. This is trash you're looking at. White trash. No moral core. Ugh.
And just remember,
But Governor, excuse me, but she said there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone. That is not true.
Can you imagine?
You say she demonstrated her ability to be commander-in-chief, but did she not know about these people in Syria and Iraq? Why would she say that?
Look, that was a comment. That was a comment in a debate. I think the point that she was.
That was a comment in a debate. We all know that people that you're supposed to lie during a debate. Don't be an asshole, of course.
Wait, but I thought Trump said cats and dogs, and that's an evil thing that he did. And he told them.
Oh, come on, man. We're really. We're so broken that there's no putting us back together. It's so It's sad and disgusting at the same time. All right, so I will link below. And here we have Brian. Okay. High Impact Flicks. Good video. I'm starting it at 5 minutes. Here we go.
Anyway, back to why he didn't lock Hillary up.
We won the election. I think it would be I think it would have been horrible for our country and we had her between the hammering of all of the files. And don't forget, she got a subpoena from the United States Congress. And then after getting the subpoena, she destroyed everything that she was supposed to get. I thought it was so bad to take her and put her in jail, the wife of a president of the United States. And then when it's my turn, nobody thinks that way. I thought it was a very terrible thing. And she did a lot of very bad things. I'll tell you what, she was pretty evil. But in terms of the country and in terms of unifying the country, bringing it back, to have taken her and to have put her in jail. And I think, you know, the things as well as I do, there were some pretty bad acts that she did. I think it would have been very bad for our country. And a lot of my people, a lot of the MAGA, as they call them, but the base. And I think the base is 75% of the country, far beyond the Republican Party, because we're a party of common sense, and I'm a person of common sense.
So the person of common sense who oftentimes declared Hillary to be crooked, corrupt, and pretty evil, reasons that he didn't lock her up because locking up crooked, corrupt, pretty evil people would be bad for the country?
I thought it was a very bad thing. Take the wife of a president of the United States and put her in jail. I think it would be I think it would have been horrible for our country.
Do you see what's going on? And why would you be very protective of crookedness, corruption, and evil?
I was very protective of her. Nobody would understand that.
Yeah, he's right. I don't understand that. Do you? What really is going on? If you have power to drain the swamp and lock up crooked, corrupt, evil people, but you don't do it, what does that make you? And why do you continue to support liars like Trump, Harris, Vance, and Walz? Has Stockholm Syndrome gotten so far out of hand? And are we so far down the road of cognitive dissonance that people can't really think straight anymore? Thanks for taking your time to watch this video.
So this is a new channel of Brian's, The Disturbing Illusion. Well, it's the first time I'm seeing it. Okay, the link again is in the chat. But yeah, I mean, it's in our face. They lie all the time. Whether they're on the red team or the blue team, doesn't matter. But those who consider themselves truthers will make all of these justifications in their own head for why Trump did that. Bad for the country to actually hold somebody accountable for their crimes. It's bad for the country. Okay. Run out and vote. Trump supporters who sat on stage during Arizona rallies suffering from mysterious eye injuries. It's unbearable. This is just outside of Phoenix. So one of his loyal backers was affected, and she claimed she was experiencing eye irritation when she exited the venue following the nearly 80-minute speech. This is Myra Rodriguez. As soon as we left and we stepped outside, my eyes were burning. A former Planned Parenthood director, whistleblower, and vocal figure in the Republican Party. Okay. Sure wish that when people leave their team that they just stopped, pause, on the middle of the bridge before walking to the other team, just to think, just to get a view of what it's like outside the matrix. Her eye irritation became so severe during her ride home that she went to the emergency room. Triage nurse began asking her if she was sprayed with something. Are you sure you didn't get sprayed? Your symptoms look like you got sprayed. What's going on? Her symptoms continued to worsen the following day. She said she couldn't see anything when she tried to open her eyes. I see a bright light. It hurts. It hurts a lot to open my eyes. I have this cold cloth I put on and take off constantly. It's horrible. Medical personnel were unable to come up with a diagnosis. Nearly blind. She felt that she was nearly blind. Her vision improved a couple of days later. 2 others experienced similar injuries. It kept getting worse and worse for them. My eyes were watering a lot. My nose started running. Then I started feeling my face get really flushed. My neck felt like it was on fire. And the other person said they had the same escalation of pain. And he said it became unbearable. Wow. Curious why members of the one group sitting on the right side of the stage were the only ones affected. Well, mysteries abound. We've got so many of them. I can just walk outside. I did just a couple of days ago. I walked outside of a store and I immediately started sneezing. I felt stuffed up. My eyes were burning. We have a lot of stuff in our atmosphere for sure, right? All right, so Trump appearance was canceled at a deli in Brooklyn. Last minute cancellation. The owner died. Heart attack. Died of a heart attack, 76. Wow. So Trump is supposed to speak at this deli in Brooklyn. The owner dies, and it was canceled last minute. Is somebody using that heart attack gun on people? Strange things are happening. And you got to listen to this. Oh my God. All right. Tell us what your plan is. Michigan voters demand answers from Harris. I'd like to know how you can demand answers from someone who has shown you who she is and what she's all about for a long time. So stuck in the matrix, she's been a public figure for a long time. You're going to demand answers. And you think you're going to get the truth when you ask them?
Let's say you could ask Vice President Harris one question. What would that do?
Really cut and dry, give us what you stand for on immigration.
Don't you know? Don't you know? Come on. Yeah. Cut and dry. Tell us where you stand on immigration. She was the border czar who did nothing, and the border has been open for her entire time as the border czar. And as the border czar, she has done nothing. Where do you think she stands? Okay.
They really need to establish, no, we're not the party of open borders. We're not afraid to talk about the issue. We do believe in secure borders, et cetera, et cetera.
Your party has let however number of million people in here illegally. Why is that? And why can't you come up with a plan to make this situation legal?
What will she be able to do?
To make this situation legal, they already say it's legal. It's not legal, it's treason. But hey, we're going to say, even Jimmy Dore, I heard yesterday, say, well, they're in legally, technically. No, they're not, Jimmy. It's illegal. It's treason. Okay. Just because your politicians who are treasonous are claiming that these people are in here legally. Treasonous people you should really question. But hey, I'm crazy.
About gun violence, children and grandchildren. People want to carry, have a license.
What you gonna do about gun violence, Kamala? Isn't it crazy? Am I crazy? You're going to ask a woman who has been in charge of the border, who hasn't done anything and just left it wide open, what's her stand on the border? Okay. Okay. Tell me what you think about this. I don't know where. I don't see, this is a man I would just have to walk away from, because I feel like he ain't right. I'll leave it at that.
Lee Scott. We're on the grounds of Laurel Oak Farm, which is our family farm here in Butler, Pennsylvania. And I also serve as a director for Evangelicals for Harris. What do I have that can help? I registered as a Republican at age 18, voted Republican in elections. And as the election in 2016 came about, I really needed to examine deeply what the options were. And really, I think what believers need to ask is following President Trump following in the way of Jesus? Because it is a public witness for others about being a believer. And what we do does matter. And how we act does matter. It was surreal to go back to the farm show grounds for the actual Butler Farm Show this year and to walk right through where all of that transpired. For me, it's important to point to the really good parts of Butler, which is the people. It's made up of small family farms, folks who are working families, trying to make ends meet and trying to make the life of the American dream that they've been wanting to make. And I look at the candidate options that are in front of us, and I want to support Harris and Walz because I think they have a plan for communities like ours.
He goes on. Okay. An evangelical Christian who is supporting Kamala Harris. Now, I'm not saying that Trump has a moral core. Neither one of them do. Okay? But their rhetoric is very different, right? Trump, he's against a whole lot of the immigration and, well, he did mention what was happening in the schools with the children. And Kamala Harris's rah, 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 stay woke, get more woke. And woke means that you're going to literally, well, you're going to take God's creation and twist it and turn it upside down. And this is the guy who's supporting her. Okay. Yeah, probably, Kim. I mean, he's probably paid quite a lot to come out and do his proselytizing for Kamala Harris. Crazy. Huge scandal unfolding in Chicago elementary schools. Yeah. The teachers were told by administrators to give migrant students passing grades.
The elementary schools teachers say they spoke no Spanish and their students spoke no English, and their schools that are located in predominantly black neighborhoods offered no English as a second language support. But they say they were instructed to give their migrant students 70% in every subject and pass them on to the next grade.
We were given a training about how to handle all of our newcomers to our school. And towards the end of the session, someone did ask the question, what are we supposed to do about grades? At that time, we were informed by administration that we were supposed to give the students passing grades.
Chicago Public Schools CEO Dr. Pedro Martinez was on the Lisa Dent show not too long ago. Here's what he said when asked if migrant students are held to the same standard for achievement as Chicago-born students are.
Yes, they are. And in fact, one of the things that I'm proud of is over 90% of our migrant students, we're able to put them in teachers that are certified either for bilingual or ESL. The challenges we have is that because migrants, sometimes they move from shelters and they go into temporary housing. Sometimes where they're housed, we don't have schools with those programs, but over 90%, do. And so we're just trying to provide other supports for those schools.
And when we asked the district specifically about the claims the educators we spoke with made, a CPS statement acknowledged that the policies and promotion guidelines are, quote, modified to serve the specialized needs of our English language learners.
Why you always lying? And Chicago schools, by the way, are not doing well. The students are not doing well. And a whole lot can barely read, do math, English. So maybe he was actually telling the truth that the migrants are just up to par. But really, give them passing grades. Pass them on to the next grade level. Infrared drone footage of more illegal immigrants crossing into Jacumba, California. Night vision. It goes on and on and on. Hey, Kamala, where do you stand? Where do you stand on the migration issue, the border issue? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And cover up. Yes, another congressional hearing. Ex-Border Patrol chief says he was instructed by Biden and Harris administration to hide terrorist encounters. And we know that. And so many of us have been posting on that and posting on all of the potential terrorists coming across the border. And yeah, nobody seems to be doing anything about it. What was said here? Now, yeah, this is good. Bombshell revelation. No, it's not a bombshell revelation, but okay. Here's what he had to say at the hearing, but first let's listen to Kamala.
To suggest that we have to build a wall across our southern border because there are terrorists who are trying to invade the country. It couldn't be farther from the truth.
Exponential increase in significant interest aliens. These are aliens with significant ties to terrorism. Prior to this administration, the San Diego sector averaged 10 to 15 SIA arrests per year. Once word was out the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more than that registered this year. These are only the ones we caught. At the time, I was told I could not release any information on this increase in SIAs or mention any of the arrests. The administration was trying to convince the public there was no threat at the border.
To suggest that we have to build a wall across our southern border because there are terrorists who are trying to invade the country. It couldn't be farther from the truth.
Why does this continue? Because Americans do not believe that they deserve any better. They don't believe they deserve any better than these lying, psychopathic, narcissistic, subhuman people who are actually destroying their lives. Well, let's see. Let's take a break. And I got this from a subscriber whom I'd like to thank. Yes. It's Rockstar or Rickstar. I can't even remember. Wow, I'm subscribed to him. Oh boy. I'm going to post the link in the chat. If you don't know this man, he speaks for the animals. He does voiceover and he's good. He's very good. Here we go.
What? Bro. Oh my gosh. Come on. Now.
What?
You need to get up.
I don't want to.
I know.
What's your problem?
You my problem because the doctor told me to make you walk.
What you want to do?
Find a new owner.
You want to go outside?
Oh, your brain is sharp like a butter knife.
You got to stop yelling at me.
You got to stop calling soccer football.
Will you stop yelling at me?
All right.
All right then.
You could at least get up and give the sofa a break. You know it's over there screaming.
He's very funny. All right, what you want to do? Find a new owner? Yeah. Don't we all feel like that? Can't we find new owners? Country life is not for me. Okay. Short clip, profound. Every adult should know this and be doing it. But yeah. Thank you, subscriber, for sending this along. I wish more people were passionate about the truth. And a whole lot of people have split off that truth, right? Oh, it's just the truth about what's happening to us collectively. No. The whole truth, the full truth, the whole truth. Nothing but the truth. Your inner truth. Your truth. But a whole lot of people don't even, it's not even on their radar. That's why we're living a nightmare.
Tell
Tell the truth, tell the truth. Tell the fucking truth. It's going to be hard sometimes. I've said this so many times. You're probably sick if you've been following me. You're like, oh, here we go again. Here he is again. He's saying the same shit again. I'm going to say the same shit till I'm dead because it's that real and it's that important. That's what's keeping most people back. That's what's keeping most people stuck. They're fucking lying. Tell the goddamn truth, man. Tell the fucking truth. When your voice shakes, when it quivers, when you don't know, you got to tell the truth. When your heart's pounding out of your chest, tell the truth. When you're scared as fuck, tell the truth. When you don't know, tell the truth. Tell the fucking truth.
Yeah. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Stop lying. Glorious Life on Wheels. Just a few minutes. There's a whole lot of videos now, or channels, or, well, videos, I should say, of people who are giving advice to those who will become homeless and live in their cars. Yep. Here she's talking about a 80-some-odd-year-old woman who's terrified. Sorry, but something has gone wrong, terribly wrong, with our country, that communities are not stepping up to help out their own.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. Today, I want to share with you an email that I received a couple of weeks ago, and it literally broke my heart. It was from an 80-some-year-old woman who told me a story about what was happening to her. Over the last several years, every year, her rent increased. And as it increased, she would make additional sacrifices and cuts to the point that she was only eating one meal a day. Well, this year, as she got her rent increase, she knew she wasn't going to be able to make enough cuts to be able to make that rent. And so she wrote to me in the email, and she was telling me about how she was going to have to move into her car. And she expressed such fear and anxiety about the prospect of doing that. Well, shortly after getting that email, I met up with Lindy from Lava Lindy's Awesome Van Adventure, and we were both talking about the emails we get on a regular basis and how they're becoming more increasing from women, especially senior women, who are now having to move into their vehicles, not by choice, but out of financial necessity.
So she introduces this woman who gives tips to 80 plus year old on how to do it, how to live in your car. Oh boy, are we broken. Badly, badly, badly. Well, how would you feel if it was you? How would you feel if it was you? Wouldn't you want a community to come together and help you, instead of a whole lot of people just ignoring or, saying, oh boy, what a shame, then going on about their business. This is not just, about the greedy capitalist, globalist, or politicians who are destroying our lives. It's a reflection of all of us. It's what we have also created. The breakdown in community, lying to one another, not caring, about the betrayal that you've caused other people. We've got an awful lot of that going on. More people sleeping in their cars. Cost of living crisis. It's really woof.
Hey there. It's 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like getting into why I'm sleeping in a parking lot. But I do know that you're usually allowed to sleep in a Walmart parking lot. So I came to this Walmart parking lot, and there is a hotel.
Oh, it is a hotel.
And with empty parking spots. And that car, and that car, and that car, and every car that you can see, and one or two through there. Every single one of those cars has got somebody sleeping in it. Because a woman came over when I pulled up and asked me if I needed something because I had to do something to my truck. And she asked me if I needed anything, if I needed a flashlight, if she could help me in any way.
Okay.
Her name's Susie. She's super sweet. And I said, no, thanks. And I looked around and I asked, I said, can I sleep in this parking lot? And she's like, yeah. And that's when she told me, she said, every single one of these cars has someone sleeping in it.
Wow.
That green truck right there, he's here every night. I'm here every night, she said. There's a blue truck here with a trailer on it. Mm-hmm. In the greatest nation on earth, there are people, and they're nice. Some of them are nice cars. My truck is a decent truck. Shiny, clean. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-ish cars.
Wow, that's a lot of cars.
And there's like 3 dozen empty parking spots in the hotel next door. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the economy's great. Fucking great.
Dang.
Yeah. It's just fabulous. People mentally checking out. People are really having a hard time now. A whole lot. They may not understand what is going on, the big picture, but boy, do they understand. They have no future.
That it's not even backed by gold. It is fiat currency. It is pulled out of thin. There is no greater frustration than the knowing that money is not real. That money is a figment of our imagination, that it's not even backed by gold. It is fiat currency. It is pulled out of thin air, yet it is this insanely powerful force over my life. And it has the ability to, unlike anyone or anything else on this planet, nothing can trigger me more than money. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about this literal imaginary thing that we have made up as a collective species being something that holds so much of us back from our fullest potential, holds so much of us back into the space of being deeply oppressed, holds so much of us back into this emotional space of unworthiness? What the actual is this witchcraft? What is this sorcery? Who is the one doing it? Because I have a bone to pick with you. I am tired.
It just feels so dumb. I feel like I'm fighting with an imaginary monster, and I keep losing, and it's embarrassing.
If you ain't making more than $100,000 at your job, why are you ironing your clothes before you go to work? Let them know that you need a raise. Go in there in tattered garments and clothes. Don't bring a lunch. Let them know that you're hungry.
Whew. Well, we're gonna start from so this video is actually gonna be a lot from different directions. Okay, I just compiled a lot of videos for you guys, just telling the story about the state of our minds are, these days, and what we're dealing with is just, a compilation about this. Many people having different rants about, dreams and what hopes are, like, having like a thought about what you want for your future.
Slavery, you guys. It's just slavery.
Raise your hand if you've been feeling pretty hopeless about what the future holds for you. Now, hopefully not too many of you raised your hands, but as someone who's a year away from turning 30, I've been having to come to terms with a lot of things that I don't like. I'm never going to be a homeowner. I'm going to be trapped in the cycle of renting for the rest of my life. I'm never going to be able to have kids because they are far too expensive. My future is always going to be paycheck to paycheck, no matter how much I save. I'm absolutely never going to have a retirement fund, whatever that means. Speaking of which, I'm not saying that you should drop out of school, but if I would have known how irrelevant high school was going to be in adulthood, I probably would have dropped out. I don't think I've used a single thing I've learned from high school in my adult life. Yay, I know that y equals mx plus b. Really wish I knew how to take out a loan, or file for bankruptcy, or do literally anything financial in the adult world. But at least I built character from being bullied. Speaking of loans and whatnot, I just paid off my car last year. And in my mind, I'm like, oh yay, we'll have some extra money. Until you remember that you have to pay a $400 property tax every freaking year. And then of course you have all the upkeep expenses. And speaking of that, let's talk about insurance. One of the most normalized scams in this country. How am I going to pay over $100 a month for insurance on my car? But then when something happens, they won't pay for a thing unless the cost is over $500 that I cover. A truck kicked up a rock at my windshield and I had to replace it with my own money because it was under $500. And then your rates go up, even though you did nothing wrong and you've been paying them thousands of dollars for years. I love this country so much because unless you are born into wealth, you have almost no chance of getting anywhere. It's either be born into wealth or get super lucky with meeting the right connections. And I'm so tired of this whole pull yourself up by the bootstraps or whatever they say. I worked 40 to 80 hours a week for 5 years. 5 years straight, no break. And I got nowhere. This is not how life is supposed to be. The rich run everything, and then you have poor people defending them. Y'all are so upset about a tax increase on the rich, as if the 40K that you're making is going to be affected in any way. And let's talk about taxes. Why are we all so okay with the government taking so much of our money and not representing us whatsoever? Not doing their jobs at all. And I know I'm just ranting in this video, and we'll get back to our normal videos very soon. But I'm just so frustrated, and I hate not being able to see a future. Just everything in this country is set up so horribly, it all just feels like a scam. Capitalism is such a cute idea on paper, but it's not working.
Living on $1,200 a month should be outlawed. Like the very fact that there are people in America in 2024 that's living on $1,200 a month and that's all that they get is absolutely insane to me. But it's only one way they're doing it, and I'm gonna tell you about how. The income that people are receiving for $1,200 a month is Social Security. And according to this article, they're saying that Social Security is expected to run out in 2035. Now, while that sounds like a long time away, I remember when I was a kid, and I used to see on the news, because my grandma would always watch the news, I remember they would be on TV and the Republicans would be like, you guys better stop your spending and be more responsible, talking to Congress. And they would be like, you guys you're mortgaging our kids' future. And I was thinking to myself, oh, okay, well, the future is now. I'm the kid, clearly. But the people that are receiving Social Security that's only getting $1,200 a month are managing to live because of one reason. Now, I hate to state the obvious, but y'all, they're homeowners. And I know it's really cool right now to get on the internet and talk about, oh, well, it'll never be your house if you got to have property taxes and you got to pay insurance. It's ridiculous. Well, baby, let me tell you something. If I was making $1,200 a month, I would definitely be more comfortable spending $300 a month on property taxes than $2,000 or more on principal, interest, taxes, and insurance if I buy a house late in life and or rent.
So America was built on this promise that if you work for so many years, you were supposed to end up getting 3 things when you retire: pension, 401k, and Social Security. Well, pension ain't really a thing no more. 401k is kind of hit or miss now. So then that leaves Social Security, which goes back to the $1,200 a month that I was talking about. Now, I don't know if y'all know how much Social Security is, but that's really seriously a real number. It's hardly ever $2,000 a month. But the other part of that was, one, you're supposed to have a paid off house. So that was going to drastically reduce your expenses. And the other part that people still don't talk about is the fact that you were supposed to be sharing all of these bills and debt with a spouse. Because when your spouse dies, you get their Social Security. So anyway, I say all of that to say, what is your plan? And when I say,
And there is no plan. And 1,200 is the average Social Security check. 1,200. Wow. Okay. And a whole lot of people get less. Yeah. I thought this guy, I just came across his channel today. He was just, on YouTube. I had not subscribed, but I did, because he actually, it's a 9-minute video. I'm going to play, he's got a good head on his shoulders. I like the way he thinks. And let's listen to him. Society is cooked. No jobs, no relationships, no help, no optimism. And don't say, oh, he's just so negative. This is what a lot of the young, that's their reality. Hell, it's my reality. It's the reality for a lot of people. Just because it's not your reality, don't think people who are expressing what they're feeling and their experience is negative. Could we stop with the judgment? Yeah.
What's good with y'all? I'll tell you guys, Sean. Hope y'all doing well. Got leaves and stuff falling on me, but y'all see me, I'm tapped in, bro. Our society's cooked. No jobs, no relationships, no help. No optimism about the future. We're cooked. That's the last time I'll say cooked, I promise. But bro, if you look around, say you're looking for a job, you go on Indeed, right? You go on Indeed, you type in jobs near me. You can apply to 100 jobs. You can apply to 100 jobs. Maybe 2 or 3 will call you back. And those will be the warehouse jobs. Those will be the factory jobs, because they have such a high turnover rate and they don't treat people well. So people don't want to work for them. Only jobs, or fast food. There's 2 types of jobs I think will always be around. It's factory work and warehouse jobs. And that's because factory work, warehouse jobs, and fast food. So 3 types. Because those are, I don't want to say the bottom of the barrel. I've done it. I've done all 3. But they treat you the worst, right? So you'll get it on Indeed, look and look and look, apply and apply and apply. You really want to work. You don't get any calls back. You're like, is my resume messed up? Is my number wrong? Right? And it's like, what people say is, oh, everybody's hiring. It's easy to find a job. Where? Like, who is hiring? Who? There was a couple months ago, me and 2 guys, 2 of my friends, right? We were all out of work and looking. I applied to 52 jobs. They applied to 50 jobs each. 150 jobs in between us. One of us got calls back. And I was the guy who lived in this huge city, and he had like 3 interviews. So between 150 applications, there were 3 interviews. Like what? So jobs are cooked. People don't want to hire for some reason. And it's crazy because everywhere you go, they're low staffed. Everywhere you go, they're low staffed. But y'all not hiring. How does that make sense? Because these people are so greedy, they don't want to pay people. They don't want to give people benefits. They don't want to make sure people are good. So jobs are cooked. Relationships are cooked. People are lonely. People don't have friends. People don't have family. People are selfish. We all look out for ourselves. There's no help. No one wants to help each other. No one wants to look out for each other. We live in a culture where it's I. I want this. I don't want to do that. I don't feel like doing that. Like we can't even talk to each other anymore. When's the last time you had a deep conversation with someone? I'll wait. When is the last time you sat in the car with somebody, or you sat across from someone at lunch, or you called somebody and had a deep conversation about life? I made a video, right? Things haven't been the same since 2020. Bro, before 2020, I remember late night car rides. I remember sitting on the phone talking to people for hours. I remember going on walks. You know what I'm saying? I remember all these things. We don't do it anymore. If someone thinks differently than you, we're automatically turned off to speaking to them. If someone has a different idea than you and a different ideology about things, we don't talk. We refuse to talk. We refuse to associate with them. How does that work? We're all different. Of course, we're going to think differently. And even then, we live in a social media age where everyone just thinks what they see online. Just think about something, right? If we're all our individual people, if we're all different people, how do we have the same views about everything? How do we think the same about things? Why do we think everything has to be a certain way? Or why do you never see people come out and go against the grain of what the popular opinion is? It's because you get killed if you do. You get murdered, bro. If it's not politically correct, it's over with. You're fired from your job, you know, just for saying your opinion. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we can't even talk to each other. We don't hear each other anymore. We don't want to help each other. It's just so uncomfortable. So it leaves people with this feeling of loneliness. And the craziest thing is the same people who feel lonely are the same people who are unwilling to change.
I really liked him. First impression, alter ego Sean. He has another 3 minutes in that talk, and it's very good. Yeah. And not sure his age. I'm going to guess, is he Gen Z? I've always thought Gen Z is, these little kids. But they're not little kids anymore. Okay. So they're young. Yeah. This is what we have left for the young, a breakdown in everything, in all aspects of life. And that really sucks, big time. There's a lack of community in the West. Yes, there is, big time.
I think the promotion of self-love in America is directly linked to the downfall of community. Now, the concepts of, preserving one's energy, protecting your peace, peace, and putting yourself first inherently doesn't sound bad, right? But with how Americans go about it, the problem is a lot of people do not want to be inconvenienced with helping others. And in order to have community, people have to show up for each other. And the narrative of putting oneself first, right? In order to have community, you need to change that to loving your neighbor as yourself. Because so many people love themselves, but they don't love their neighbor. In order to have community, you have to love your neighbor. And the problem also is so many people, they're not willing to serve, but want to be served. And because they want to be served and the whole idea of self-love, so many people excuse them not showing up for other people, but they don't allow others to not show up for them. So when someone needs their help, they'll deny helping this person in the name of protecting their peace, or, you know what I'm saying, they need time for themselves because they don't want to be inconvenienced. But in order to have that community, you have to be okay with being inconvenienced at times because you're trying to look out for the community. And everybody loves to mention the saying, it takes a village to raise a child, but where is the village? Because we're at a time where all these people are so focused on themselves that there is no village, it's only themselves. And then the children are being neglected. And then we complain about how these children and the younger generations are all becoming worse and worse as time comes, but people don't have an active interest in the next generation or the kids. So we can't have community if you're going to be so focused on yourself and protecting your own peace and not want to be inconvenienced by other people. So if you want community, you got to show up. Because if nobody shows up, then guess what? It's only going to be you. No community.
Community in the United States, and why is it so hard to come by? I've lived mostly abroad for the last 11 years, and one of the biggest things that I've noticed about living abroad versus when I'm back in the US is the community. Pretty much everywhere I go, and I've lived many, many places, I can find a community. I don't know if it's because nomads stick together, expats stick together, or it's just sort of this like bond of like none of us are from this country that we're in, but like it's just easy to find people to bond with and feel a sense of sort of like family outside of family. Also, you can pretty much guarantee that if somebody is living abroad, they probably have a similar vibe, interest, and way of looking at the world that you do. Meanwhile, when I'm back in the US, I find it so incredibly difficult to find community. People kind of stick to their family units, their kids, their husbands, whatever. And if there is a sense of community here, it's usually built around religion or something that I'm not interested in. So I'm back in the US for a little while and I'm trying to build more community. I'm trying to like create events and bring people together. And something I'm noticing is that people are all, yes, we want this, but then they don't actually show up to the things. But everybody keeps telling me how desperate they are for community. And something that I'm starting to think is that maybe people in the US don't even really know what community is. All they know is that they feel lonely and they don't know where they fit in, especially if they don't have kids or a family. And some places are better than others. Like when I'm in New York or San Francisco, I find it's much easier to cultivate and find community versus when I'm in the middle of the US or Chicago, I find it a little harder. I think at the end of the day, the US is just not a culture built around the idea of community. I don't know, what are you guys finding is the best way to build community in America?
I don't. I have tried. I remember in Anderson, South Carolina, there were a lot of subscribers that I had in Anderson. I tried to have meet-ups with them. They were all yes. And when it actually came to be, and I tried to schedule something, oh, well, I'm busy that day. And no one was available. Yeah. So a lot of people who have family are okay. They're okay. That is their social network. Good families. And yeah, the impact of a whole lot, unable to connect with people, lonely, isolated. That number is growing. It has physical and mental impacts on the individual. And we are a country of people who are just, Everybody is out for their own. We didn't do life right. We didn't do life right. And I've been saying for years, we can talk a good game about what we value. But watch how people operate in their life, and you'll see what they really value. Money. Money. A whole lot do not value growing up, doing the work necessary to become mature, healthy adults, healthy of mind. And yeah, self-centeredness is the disease that has turned this country to rot. I wish it was different, but doesn't seem to be going anywhere but down. And unfortunately, who can you trust? If we were of moral character, just collectively, Americans on the whole, meaning just the majority, we wouldn't be living what we're living. And that's why I have for 13 years said, there's a connection between what's happening to us collectively and how we live our lives individually. And we need to clean ourselves up. That's the truth that is the most important, that most people just want to ignore. But that then means that an awful lot of people don't care what's happening to other people, and a whole lot gets screwed in the process. Elderly going homeless more and more, the kids getting abused by their parents, by the schools. There is no sense of community in this country, And if we had community, wow, a whole lot of people would be helped. Here, there's no sense of community.
I went to a cafe yesterday. Mind you, I had like $7 left in my wallet. So I'm like, I want to get coffee from you guys, but I don't have that much. So like, if the latte was like $6.75, I probably had $6.25, and she wasn't gonna just give it to me. As a barista, do you know how many times we've said, you know what, it's okay, don't worry about the 50 cents? Or how many times a regular customer came in, I'm like, put your wallet away, you come here every day. Since it's a small business, I let it slide because they can't really afford to give out free drinks. But at my previous job, we had a passcode for the bathroom. My coworkers were so shady about not letting certain people go to the bathroom if they didn't buy coffee. Again, I'm different, but I don't care. You don't have to buy something. It's hard to find a bathroom in New York. You gotta go. And then the customer might say, damn, like, thank you for letting me go to the bathroom. Next time I come here, I'm gonna bring my friends, my family. But in New York, it just feels like everyone only cares about money, what you can do for them. Even with charging phones, I've seen baristas and bartenders lie or be shady and be like, no, we can't do that. And it's like, the customer's okay with the liability, so why aren't you okay with it? One time a woman came in and she said, can I just charge my phone? Mind you, we're closed. And I was like, yeah, it's okay. Her phone was dying. She had 1%. She had to meet somebody after that. I'm the kind of person that I care about humanity. Like, it could be me one day. Working in the service industry can make you a very bitter person. I've seen my coworkers be really bitter about things that don't matter, like somebody sitting on the patio with McDonald's, and we don't sell that. Okay, I don't get paid less money because they sat there. Because, yo, being down to your last dollars and you just want to buy a cup of coffee and it's expensive, you feel it. You feel like, damn, like I feel like I'm broke, like I'm poor. But no, you're just going through a hard time. I've always been the kind of person that just helps someone out. Like if I'm a barista and I see that you're short a few cents, who cares? How much coffee do we throw away at the end of the night anyway? No, seriously, because at coffee shops, we throw out so much food. We throw out pastries, we throw out coffee. Just the other day, I went to Dunkin' Donuts, got a donut.
There's a lot of people talking about community and the lack of, and the loneliness, and this is truly where we have control. We have control, right? We can change. We can do things, for other people, and to make their lives a little bit easier. Why don't we? I like listening to this woman. She's dead on. There's a lot of cultures that are very family oriented, and we are not one of them. We are not one of them. In fact, we're pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You're not going to get any help from me. I didn't get any help, so you get out there, and there are jobs. The economy's fine, and there's an awful lot of families that don't give a shit about their family members. Oh, well, they died. Who gives a shit? There's a lot, and I have faced them, who their only care is about the inheritance that they get. They don't shed a tear for their father or mother dying. How much am I getting? It's sad, but when you have community, it really does make life easier. It's so foreign to an awful lot of Americans to live as this woman explains how she lived.
Because there's like no community in the US. And as a child of immigrants, I love the community that my parents built for me and our family in the US growing up. And like I would raise my children the exact same way as someone who moved abroad when I plan to have children. Like both my parents have always worked and I was an only child. But I grew up with like four other Chinese families, and their kids were about the same age as me. And all of their parents always worked too, and one of them was a single mom. And all of our parents took turns each day of the week bringing us to different activities like tutoring or swim practice, soccer practice, until we were like old enough to stay home by ourselves or something. So like my parents basically only had to do like one after school activity like one day of the week. And we also always lived in like the same neighborhood or like similar areas, so it was like kind of on the way to pick us all up. And we would have like family parties every weekend or something, where like every Saturday a different family would host the other families, and we would have like a dinner party and like hang out and just stay up until like really late, and our parents would just like play cards with us. And my parents still do that to this day with all of our other families. And we would also like go on vacation together. And because like none of us have other family in the area, like my grandparents live in China, my cousins and uncle live in like California and New York. So they literally became our family, and we have Thanksgiving and Christmas together. They're the ones that we always call to get picked up from the airport, and my parents always pick up them from the airport. Like it could genuinely not be a better community to have like those people in my life.
Being without community and being chronically alone can cause you to lose yourself and not even.
And what this woman is saying is also very important. The having friends that know you, having people in your life that know you so they can spot when you're not doing well. They know who you were before, and they recognize a difference. Yeah, it's really It's exceedingly important. It's one of the reasons why there are so many Americans now who are very lonely, isolated, miserable, and getting people to do anything differently is nearly impossible. I'm going to play out what this woman had to say. But yeah, do I wish that I had a life that she describes? Oh, man, do I. Do I ever.
Yourself because there's no mirrors being held up to you. Community is not just company, but also reflection. One of my mutuals actually just posted a video recently. Her stitches were off, so I couldn't stitch the video, but I'll tag it down below. She was actually talking to one of her friends in a video and telling her friend, like, homegirl, you are losing yourself. I think it was such an honest conversation and a conversation that is very needed. When you have people around you, people who care enough about you to say, hey, you're slipping through the cracks. You're forgetting who you are. You guys have a strong enough bond for y'all to have these types of honest conversations. It does so much for you. When you are chronically alone, always by yourself, always in the house, isolated, like I was for the past 4 or 5 years, working remote, not really having a lot of friends, had left my last church, hadn't found a church yet. COVID was going on and I had experienced multiple miscarriages. I was in the house staring at my 4 walls, gaining weight, didn't even really realize that I was gaining weight, didn't realize that I was slipping through the cracks because there was no one around me to tell me that. There was no one around me that was holding up a mirror to me because I was chronically alone. When we talk about loneliness, when we talk about being alone, when we talk about not having community, a lot of people are losing themselves because they're not around people.
I saw this person post on Twitter how
There's a lot of people who are talking about how there's, and a lot of young people talking about there's no community, there's a lot of loneliness, and Americans, you got to look in the mirror. This is the country that we have all created by how we operate in the world individually and then, of course, in the aggregate. If we're only caring about money and our material success, well, then you have to think also about how we were parented. And there are so many people, more than not, who were not parented in a healthy manner. You know, they've become adults who, you know, lack the love and attention that they should have gotten from their parents. They have low self-esteem. They've got control issues. They're anxious. They're depressed. They're what? That, yeah, it starts early. Starts very, very early on. And you carry that, you know, throughout your adult life. And unfortunately, that's the bag that you've been handed. Nobody's going to do anything about it. Only you can do the work necessary to get yourself a little bit more healthy. But we don't have we have not had a healthy people here. People are afraid to talk to one another. They're afraid to, you know, talk honestly about how they're feeling because so many people are afraid of getting judged, getting abandoned. Oh my God, you know, I have, you know, certain feelings, but if I share them with somebody, what's going to happen? So I'll just keep it in, keep it in, keep it in, keep it in until people blow, until they get sick physically. We can't, you know, it's like impossible. And this is how we interact with one another. We've made it virtually impossible to be real. And If we cannot be real in life, you're not living. You know, you just make a farce of life. It's farcical. It's we need to be real. You need to have people to count on. You can't do it alone. You cannot do it alone. So that's why, just like that man who said, I'll be saying this until I'm dead. Well, I'll be saying what I've been saying until I'm dead. Live honestly and speak honestly. Develop yourself as a trustworthy human being. The lying has to stop. But it is how we operate in America, in the United States. And nobody cares. No one cares that other people are lying and gossiping. I've been around it so much that it literally has helped to destroy me. That's what it does. So that's where the answer lies. You know, it's developing your own moral core, strengthening it, getting honest with yourself, and wanting something better. Just wanting something better than what we have created. But I know I'm just talking to the wind, so yeah, help those in your community, and thanks for showing up, and ciao.